The Coast to Coast Entertainment Network would like to thank their proud sponsors for their support of C2C programming. Beside Me Bracelets, Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, Reaper Apparel Company, and Good Day Embroidery. The Elite Draft League would like to thank the following premier sponsors for their support of the inaugural 2024 EDL season. Craft Coast Brewery and Taco Stand. Play It Again Sports, Scripps Mira Mesa. The Answer's Yes. And Roller Dad News. It's a hot one here in San Diego as the sun is still in the air at 7:07 in the evening on a beautiful Friday, June 28th, 2024. It is season 1. It is already episode 3 of the Puck and Roll podcast, covering all things involving and revolving around the wide world of the San Diego Elite Draft League for men's roller hockey. Back alongside my co-host and our fearless social media engineer and content creator, Gabe John. Yours truly, Callan McClurg, back with you here from the home studios in San Diego. Gabe, 1 week down, a new week begins. Week 2 begins in about 24 hours, man, but good to see you. How's it going today?
Oh, good. Yeah, it's we can see that the days are getting a little bit shorter, but summer is in the air. Beautiful days here in sunny Southern California, and so yeah, just ready to let it rip.
I was a little baffled about the fact that the sun went down at like 8:30 last night. Like, it was a little mesmerizing, like looking out the window from where I live and looking towards the ocean and seeing the sun still kind of up at around like 8:25, 8:30. So it feels like the days are getting longer, it seems like, right now at this rate. But with that in mind, though, folks, alongside, as mentioned, Gabe, John, and Callan McClurg, here this evening, again, we are previewing a new week, a fresh week now after we've had our first 2 games of the EDL season here on this Friday. Again, if you are joining us live here, folks, if you're a player, if you're a fan, if you're a first-time fan, first-time viewer of Coast to Coast Entertainment, again, the Puck and Roll podcast is the exclusive league streaming podcast for the Elite Draft League, a brand new roller hockey league for men's hockey here in San Diego County. And again, Gabe and myself come your way Fridays and Sundays to preview and recap all of our league action. Again, we will take your live input, folks, if you're watching live via YouTube or Facebook in our live chat box. Again, and we'll do our best to make sure that your comments are, in fact, read live on the air here this evening. Well, again, Gabe, let's kind of go back into the archive a little bit, back to about a week or so ago, man, where we opened up the first podcast. And, of course, we had the first ever games played last Saturday from a scorching hot Escondido Sports Center. Again, Gabe, we were both very much so blown away by the turnout of family, of friends, significant others, and, again, even some local community folks who were kind of in the area who came by to check out the first ever games last week. And, again, that really has stayed with me since we signed off on Sunday about, I can't wait to get back up there and build upon what we have already built after the first week of a season. And maybe are you kind of in that same exact spot that you're already kind of in a way ready to get back to work now after we've had this practically this whole week off from gameplay since last week?
Definitely still buzzing from the high of Saturday, but also, some of my favorite moments, from this week, some of my, highs of the days throughout this past week have been the sprinkling of praise and excitement that have actually come from players who have expressed, how fun Saturday was, the level of compete and how they're looking forward to this upcoming Saturday to continue with the league. So, not only was last Saturday just a blast for us all, but also, there's been some kudos shared and some, feedback already given throughout the week that has kept that momentum alive. So, yeah, players are excited to get back out there, and that means that we've got to be, not only for them, but also like how can you not be? When the players are excited and they're ready to go, then it's makes for a good time.
It does make for a good time, and I think that we probably had seen more of that maybe afterwards. Again, the traditional, I would call it traditional post game, brews are served and guys are sitting on coolers or sitting on, chairs that they bring with them to sporting events when they're tailgating, and everyone having a good old time, whether their team won or lost on Saturday, as we do, in fact, kick off a new week once more here as we get ready for week 2 action here on A Puck and Roll as we roll into our second full week. But I guess, though, Gabe, we still kind of stay a little bit, though, with week 1. Again, as we somewhat talked about a little bit before we came on the air, we talked a bit about the last Sunday, was also about the fact, though, too, about we heard from Colton Grover, who, again, had the first ever goal in league history. He had a 4-point game in the Mar Bandits win, and he also had the first ever hat trick in the first goal. But I still kind of think about Colton's post-game interview that you had done about how the first answer he gave was, do you know like how great it feels as a player to now be able to live here in San Diego and have a competitive league like this now at our disposal? And I think even Reed Kinsey, our other player of the game from the second game last Saturday, shared those same sentiments where, like I said, though, we now have a lot of guys in this town who, again, are born and raised natives or maybe who have made San Diego their home, who still play hockey at a high level. Now having this at their disposal just, I think, makes Saturday like more of a look forward to, I guess, or like why I'm looking forward to it more is like, who's going to have the next big game and who's going to kind of, in a way, have the same exact feelings if they, in fact, talk to us after the game's over.
Yeah, it seems exciting for the players based on the feedback that we've received to date. Players, in addition to just wanting to compete then and there in the moment, that's what it's all about. They also are excited to potentially see themselves in the highlight reel, and they do not want to be seen in someone else's highlight reel. So
True.
The level of compete is there, and people are excited about the pizzazz and everything that we're doing around the league as well to keep it engaging and community focused for the players. So yeah, players are buzzing and players are excited, and Colton expressed that, Reed expressed that, and there's been more people expressing that behind the scenes. So it's we'll do our best to keep pace with that excitement and continue to push ourselves to make it as premier of an experience for these guys who, again, just deserve it, not only for their level of compete, but because we play a great game that deserves it as well.
Yeah, and like I somewhat kind of ranted a little bit towards the end of episode 2, I think last Sunday, where I said, if you call yourself a hockey fan here in San Diego, or if you're a player even who may not be a part of our league, you are more than welcome to come and help support this brand new, fresh-faced league, just by being there. It doesn't matter if you know people who work for the league or play in the league or not. Just coming out, though, and showing that you have San Diego hockey's back in some capacity at these games. Again, there's no admission. Just come on in and grab a seat, like I said last Sunday here on the show, as we, in fact, roll on here at this rate. With that, Gabe, in mind, as we still kind of look back a bit, let's look back one more time, though, and let's pass along our first award, I guess, of the season. A huge congratulations goes out to our man, Colton Grover. Missed the R in his name, but officially official per Commissioner Josh Fontaine just about 15 minutes or so ago. Colton Grover, your player of the week, who's going to be getting some pretty nice swag from some of our loyal partners here from the Elite Draft League in San Diego. But again, Colton Grover, first goal ever in league history, and also first hat trick in league history. He also had a 4-point game to kick off our first ever game last week. And as we were saying a little bit, though, Gabe, about this Del Mar team, though, and I know that we were talking about how this could have been Chuck Baldwin, fresh off that 4-title sweep in Europe against hockey's sensei himself, Etan Shavira. But again, Etan had some stuff at home to take care of and could not make the game. But maybe lost in the shuffle a little bit. And I kind of hate to say that to week 1, though, but guys like Jake Pribble and Chuck Baldwin, I think, would probably grab your attention if you're watching this Del Mar team. But you see a guy like Colton Grover, maybe, not on people's radars, though. First ever goal in league history, and he tallies 2 more, and then he also has an assist on one of the 2 tic-tac-toe goals that Del Mar put home in the first game of the league's history. So, Gabe, there it is. First official player of the week is our good man Colton Grover.
Yeah, look at that guy just racking up elite draft league records, left and right there. We'll see if
It'll make your job really easy when we put the media guide out for next season when we have like all the league firsts.
Yeah. Let's see how many times Grover can come up on that list. But yeah, that guy's got a wicked shot. So as long as he keeps riding the puck and finding space to do so, he's going to get some tallies throughout the games. So he's got the speed, he's got the shot. We encourage him to continue shooting because we all know as people watching, he can put the puck in the net. So just keep riding Colton, and that puck will find its way in. Got the tools, the speed, and the shot to make it happen. So even without Chuck playing in the upcoming game, because of course he was a sub for that opening night, still expect him to be putting pucks on net and in the net.
And I also think, though, that when I think back to the highlights we showed, courtesy of Commissioner Fontaine's epically awesome GoPro footage that we were able to snag, and he was like diligently working like all night to get it ready for us on Sunday, was that the third goal Colton scored, though, man, it was almost not a full-blown breakaway, Gabe, but it sure looked like he just had time and space. He had enough patience to hold, let the goalie kind of make his move. Though I think he beat him top cheddar as well for that hat trick last week.
Yeah, I mean, I think, from playing with Colin on Tuesday nights in the Escondido, in-house adult league to, competing with him here and there at the, Kit Carson Park, I can tell you, he's gotten a dangerous shot. So when he can get himself enough speed to, find even a little bit of area, and he doesn't necessarily even have to be at a good angle to score goals, as we saw from some of that, GoPro footage. He can be at a tough angle and he can pick his spots. So it's a lethal asset that he has, that release and that shot of his. And so when he's feeling good, he's shooting the puck, and when he's shooting the puck, he's scoring goals. So that's that trajectory, and hope to see more of it. And I think the fans do too.
Gabe, I would even say maybe lost a bit further in the shuffle. Again, you hate to see this after week one. Again, Colton Grover maybe lost in the shuffle with skaters. I think what we have kind of in a way overlooked, sadly, between you and myself, Aiden Barty, their very young goalie, 3 goals allowed in the first game. Like, he was rock solid in this first ever game of the EDL. 18 saves, 21 shots faced, got the W, played all 30 minutes, and an .857 save percentage. Like, for one of the younger guys of this league, between him and Matt Malo, who also was in goal for Mission Bay, some of the younger kids, who are of age of the league, though. But certainly, I think, though, Gabe, got to give the goalie his flowers here, man, for making 18 saves on facing 21 shots, though, in that first game.
Yeah, let's give the goalies some love. Let's give those guys some love. And yeah, both Maddie and Aiden are, I guess they're kids. Don't want to age ourselves too much, but those they're young, and they seemingly love to be at the rink, so they step into play whenever the opportunity calls. And just in the short time that I've been able to play against or with them, they've gotten significantly better. So I'm excited to see, continue seeing their development as they have more and more opportunities to play at a high level. But yeah, Aiden had a great game, great first game. He does have the luxury of having some big bodies in front of him, but 18 saves on 21 shots is not a bad way to start the season opener.
Gabe, maybe from the player perspective, as we kind of talk a bit about Aiden Barty, the starting goalie for Del Mar, who again cashed in on the first ever W in goal for the EDL last Saturday. Again, he faced 21 shots, made 18 saves. Gabe, maybe from that perspective of the player, from your angle, what can this mean for any of the maybe younger, fresh-faced kids joining this, men's league when they play against older competition, though? Like, can this help them really boost, as they kind of climb the ladder here, facing some older competition, whether it's age or just even in general, facing older, faster, stronger players when they're still, 18, 19, 20 years old?
Absolutely. It's if you're not surrounding yourself with players who push you, or who are, as good, if not a little bit better than you, it's going to be, that much more difficult to improve your game. So for these goalies who are playing against players who have not only the shooting strength, but also the smarts to pick their spots, pick their opportunities, and also add some deception to their game. Going back to the conversation with Reed of last week, when, he mentioned about playing, goalie mind games, and, making the goalie make the first move before he took his shot. There's opportunities for these goalies to pick up on, the subtleties of deception, and to be patient in net, so that they can even force the player to be making the first move. So absolutely, playing with better players, whether you're goalie or playing out, is always going to be to your advantage if you're looking to get better.
So again, folks, a major congratulations to our good man Colton Grover of the Del Mar Bandits, the first. He is a man of first, I'm telling you. The first ever goal scorer, first ever hat trick scorer in league history. Now the first ever player of the week, as just announced by Commissioner Josh Fontaine. Within the last 10 to 15 minutes, we will have I believe, a swag bag coming his way, courtesy of a lot of our great partners who, again, we ask that you folks help support. Again, they are across our ticker tape here on our bottom line. Again, they have put, just like all of us with the league front office, a lot of time, effort, and energy to make the EDL here in San Diego succeed. But once more, Colton Grover from the Del Mar Bandits, first ever goal scorer, first ever hat trick, now add first ever player of the week honors for the San Diego Elite Draft League in 2024. Again, he's coming off a 4-point game, 3 goals and an assist in Del Mar's 7-3 win last week over the Mission Bay Ospreys. And both teams will tee it up again in less than 24 hours at the Escondido Sports Center. With that in mind, Gabe, as we kind of still, in a way, look back once more at week 1, again, recapping the scores in case anyone did miss out on the earlier week of games. Del Mar over Mission Bay 7-3. And of course, Gabe, we were talking at length, I think, on Sunday about the North County Temecula game that went 6-5, though, and how everything just happened in the last 4.5 minutes, roughly, of regulation time. And with North County winning that game, but again, they blew that lead. They fell behind. They tied it. They went back ahead. That game for sure, Gabe, was just so much of a roller coaster, but just very just stressful in a way. But also, we were all kind of like on the edge of our seat. Like I said, though, like, are we going for overtime here? Like, definitely, like, maybe, Gabe, talk about your emotions, but maybe as well the emotion that probably you would have as a player when you're on a team up or down by a lot. You kind of get a little bit lackadaisical. I think we both have been there in our time playing sports in general. But Gabe, what can that kind of a game, winning wise or losing wise, though it's one game, how long does that stay up here, though, from the winning perspective or even the losing perspective from you as a player?
Those who know me know that I'm a big locker room guy. So I after a loss or after a little bit of adversity, I usually dwell in the locker room for a little bit. But I think it's important to shake those things off. I think both teams played hard. So while you might want to reflect on it for the period of time after the game, maybe the next day, you got to let it roll off. Both teams, again, did play hard. They both played through a different sort of angle of adversity. The Vipers coming back, so they played through that adversity of being down by a multi-goal margin, and then the Surfers facing this adversity of, oh, this team has come back. How do we regain the lead and get a handle on this game again? And so they face that sort of adversity on how to retake control after letting it slip. So both the teams face their own degree of adversity, but both teams should be proud of the way they played, the way they figured out how to play with one another over the course of the game. And so I don't think anyone should be discouraged from their game play from either team. So I think it's important to let that week 1 roll off. Don't want to get overly hyped or just underappreciate the way that they played going into week 2. Just keep an even keel and go into week 2 with a fresh slate. But it was cool to see that both teams did face that adversity, and that is how you're going to build character as a group, as a player, and keep on developing.
I may have asked last week on Sunday or Friday, Gabe, about whenabouts do you think that teams begin to really form chemistry? Now, we know that we only have a 10-game season spread out, though, over the course of several months, again, due to either scheduling problems or tournaments that are coming up, like in July, part of August, maybe part of September. But Gabe, maybe whereabouts, though, is there a definitive mark in your mind where you feel like you finally have everyone on the same page? Does that come like week 2, week 4? Is it week 5? Is it halfway through the season? Or maybe even later? But whereabouts do you think, though, in a 10-game season, do you feel like, though, from that player perspective, that you guys have to be on the same page and rolling as one cohesive unit?
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing most
Same.
in this week too, is seeing who takes control and of the pace of the game based on level of control and structure, and that comes with chemistry. I don't think that across the board there's going to be a uniform amount of time that these players need to build that chemistry.
Agreed.
Yeah, a lot of variables in that factor, such as like how people play, complementary strengths and skill sets, just communication on and off the rink. So there's a lot of different factors that play into that. But the teams that do pick up on that chemistry faster will, of course, have an edge and will be able to control the pace of the game better. And for those of us who know roller hockey, it's very much a game of possession. So the team that possesses the puck more than the other team, more often than not, does win the game. Of course, there can be flukes, but with it being a game of possession, being able to control the pace and control possession of the puck definitely gives a strong advantage to that team. So,
without a doubt. And I think that when you, like we said, though, you condense the schedule, it's almost like you don't feel like you have to panic after losing game 1, or if your lines aren't right or the defensive pairs aren't right. But now that you have 10 games, but you have so much time, though, spread out, with breaks in the schedule and stuff like that. And obviously no one should panic after game 1. Obviously, learning everyone's name, getting, names to faces, all that sort of stuff ironed out. I know that a lot of these guys, though, do in fact play together as is already in plenty of leagues up in Escondido, maybe at other places as well, or even, past leagues with ice hockey or other endeavors. With that, folks, we will cut out of here for a quick timeout. When we do, in fact, come back, we'll get to a full-blown preview of week 2 and preview our 2 games on Saturday. You're watching and listening to season 1 and episode 3 already. Good grief, of the Puck and Roll podcast, covering all things revolving around the San Diego Elite Draft League. We're back in 45 seconds, so please don't go away. We're back in a moment. The Elite Draft League would like to thank the following sponsors for their support of the inaugural 2024 EDL season: the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network, Hockey Night Insider, R&R Productions, and Wild Dog Marketing. All right, our first time out in the books. One more to go. Now it is time for a full preview of the Week 2 action. And welcome back, folks, to Season 1 and episode numero tres of the Puck and Roll podcast on a beautiful but still scorching hot Friday in San Diego. Callan, McClurg alongside Gabe, John, as we now jump into our Week 2 preview with 2 more games coming up on Saturday. Kicking things off in the first game coming up on Saturday at the Escondido Sports Center is going to be the Temecula Vineyards Vipers, coming off of a very tough 6-5 defeat last week. They'll face the Mar Bandits at 7 o'clock local time. The Vipers being led by their Top point getters so far: Jack Allen and team captain maybe alternate captain Wes Langlow with 2 points apiece. Again, as we all know, but of course, Matt Hamilton, the Vineyard Vipers team captain, out of action right now after suffering an eye injury before leading up to Saturday's game. For the Del Mar Bandits, though, led by a multitude of point getters. Again, Chuck Baldwin, who again will not be active for Saturday's game, with 4 points. Of course, our good man Colton Grover, 4 points. Jake Pribble with 3 points, and Greg Andrews also with 1 point. And again, Aiden Barty, 18 saves, 21 shots, and a .857 save percentage. So, as Gabe, we look at the first game on our docket once more with Temecula taking on Del Mar, 1-0 versus 0-1. Vineyard Vipers 0-1, Del Mar 1-0. So far, though, after the first game of the season so far, Gabe, for Temecula at least, what really kind of stands out in your mind so far with how Temecula played? Again, I think it really showed a lot of characters we kind of talked about in our first segment. Falling behind early, 3-0, 4-1, but not saying quit. And they came all the way back and, as we said, nearly either forced OT or nearly won this game in very dramatic fashion very late last Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, for different reasons, I'm very much looking forward to both upcoming games. As we know, Chuck Baldwin is not slated to play as an alternate for Del Mar Bandits, so that does leave some room on the rink to exploit. He's a big presence. He's fast. He can shoot right off the stride. So without his presence, that definitely opens things up for Vipers and their shooters to really take advantage of open space and get their shot off. So the Vipers were one of those teams in the first week where I did think that there was some I don't want to say rust, but a lack of cohesion to start off that first period. Pucks were behind. The pucks and passes weren't necessarily crisp, which, of course, if you're not getting crisp passing, it's hard to, keep in stride and keep the momentum and get your ideal shot off. But the Vipers have a number of shooters, I'll tell you. So, between Anthony Mata, things like Logan Wise, Wes Langlow, Jack Allen, they've got a number of people who can really, shoot the puck and do some special things. And then you add even, Rylan, who had an amazing goal for the Vipers.
The game for them too.
Yeah. Was that the game time one or the one that put them up?
Again? I believe it was. Let me double check what the chicken scratch says. I feel like it was the game tying goal, but I will double check real quick to see. And actually, you'd be right. That was actually the go ahead goal until Reed Kinsey spoiled the party 10 seconds later.
Yeah. I know it was bang, bang, bang. But yeah, they've got a lot of people who have lethal shots and they've got both that veteran presence, from players again like Wes, Travis Kucera, Chad Lewis, who bring a level of composure, jump work, who really bring a level of composure and patience to the game. But then they also have some young studs. Again, Rylan being able to shoot the puck really well. Logan Weiss, who can just, blaze up and down the rink and's got, moves and shots for days. So I'm excited to see what they can string together. If this is a team where if they can get that cohesion, get passes, tape to tape, and work with each other's speeds and strength, this is going to be a very competitive team.
This team is going to be competitive, and I know they've got a couple of guys, beat up, banged up, chewed up, and spit out with injury right now. But of course, with time, that they'll be back on the floor for Temecula again, who, as Gabe alluded to, again, they do have some firepower. Don't let that first game loss kind of fool you in a way. These guys are loaded with talent and also, again, that veteran core, as Gabe alluded to. Then, of course, though, Gabe, on the flip side, minus Chuck Baldwin, man, this Del Mar team, I mean, even if Chuck is out of the equation on Saturday, I still think that they have at least, 5, 6, 7 goals in that game. And if it wasn't for Matt Malo keeping Mission Bay in that game, it would have been way worse on the scoreboard. But as we said, though, Colton Grover, 4 points. Jake Pribble, who is a just, well-oiled machine, though, with 3 points in the game that they had last week. And also Greg Andrews also had a point, in their game. And again, Aiden Barty, again, the hot goalie so far of the league, 18 saves, 21 shots faced. And I think though that right now, at least if we were like, power ranking in a way, I think Del Mar right now, Gabe, probably goes at number one because of the firepower on this roster after the first game of the season.
Well, not only the firepower. Again, I mean, I think that if we go back and look at some of that footage, the dynamic trio of Chuck Baldwin, Jake Pribble, and Colin Grover was really dynamic and on display. So when removing Chuck, that is going to be a hole, and I'm looking forward to seeing who kind of is able to jump in and fill that. There are some other strong players for sure on this roster, and some smart players at that. Greg Andrews, who I have the luxury of playing with for our tournament team with Commissioner Fontaine, is a super smart player. Controls pace well. He can definitely jump into play, and he did get a goal with the I think maybe their second goal in their first game. So. And then also another player who we haven't talked about much is Noah Meni. He's a smart player, doesn't quite have the same level of speed as Colin, but he's got hands, he's got a deceptive shot, and he comes up in big moments. So without Chuck there, it'll be interesting to see how the dynamics shift a little bit. But even as much as their firepower, there's still, you can't not mention Jake Pribble. He stands as a long, formidable defensive presence. Many people call him a second goalie out there, which is pretty clear why. He actually gets into goalie position with his player skates on. So if you're coming down and you're shooting the puck, if you get it past Pribble, it's going to be a pretty decent shot, typically, because he's blocking shots. He's doing a lot of things to clog up the center, and makes it very difficult for the opposing team to get shots through. So in addition to their firepower, they've got some sturdy pillars back there playing D, and of course Aiden, who we've already talked about, stopping them in net. So this is going to be a tough team to play against with their speed, firepower, and defensive composure. And the Vipers are going to have to again utilize their speed and definitely challenge Aiden with all of their respective firepower to make this a good game.
I'm on board for the next man up to fill Chuck Baldwin's shoes, or skates for that matter, about who's going to be that next man up to fill that void and kind of be. I don't expect them to come out and have a 4-point game, but I expect somebody though to at least try to replicate the success. Get a point here. Have a multiple point game. But definitely that will be a pretty big, I wouldn't say even storyline, but just a very big, nice little keep an eye on this kind of storyline, though, as in fact that Del Mar faces Temecula coming up in game one on Saturday. And speaking of our league commissioner, a little hook 'em horns action from our fearless leader, Josh Fontaine, who I believe got our speaker fixed. So I think we're going to be even louder with when it comes to music and me on the mic on Saturday. So the people at the skate park may hate us after after week 2 does conclude. Next game on the schedule, Gabe, to wrap up our preview of week 2. The 1-0 North County Surfers and the 0-1 Mission Bay Ospreys will be the late game on Saturday. Again, North County in that frantic comeback victory, had the lead, lost the lead, got it back. They ended up winning the game 6-5. AJ Wright, Brian Pino, Ray and Reed Kinsey, man, all those guys with multiple point efforts in game 1, and Anthony Dykes also with 1 point as well. And further, if we want one more great goalie who watched our program last week, Bryce Runyon had a very great game as well with 22 saves on 27 shots faced for North County. But I believe, though, Gabe, that probably this might be like Team 1B right now. If we were doing like a tier list about, Tier 1 or 1, 2, 3, 4. Hate to do that after the first week of the season. But this would probably be Team 1B, maybe Team 1A. I mean, you can flip-flop Del Mar and North County, throw the records out the window. But because of, as you like to say, though, veteran experience, but also, two brothers are on this team and a lot of guys who put some miles on the legs playing in this sport. So maybe, Gabe, your overall thoughts so far for North County after one game. Like I also said, though, I love, Reed Kinsey's mentality after that game last Saturday where he said, man, I really wish we didn't let up when the score was 4-1. So, Gabe, your thoughts on North County entering week 2?
Yeah, when you let up, that's when they'll get you. And so again, going back to that adversity spiel, but talking about this upcoming week, I'm looking forward to this game because I feel whoever ultimately decides to control the pace of the game through puck control will have the upper hand. But if it stays as a run and gun duel, it's a 50-50 toss up. So with the Surfers, again, they have the two brother pairings. They, with the Woods and the Kinseys. They've got a number of other players who have played with each other. So they already have that history of knowing and familiarity. So this is a team that can right out the gate have that established chemistry and do a good job at controlling the pace of the game, taking control of the puck and making it a real possession game. And if they do that, I think that they will be a tough team to beat because you can't score if you don't have the puck. So I think going into the game, that could very much be their strategy. Make sure that we keep possession, make sure that we keep control of the pace of the game. And if they do that, I think that they've got a winning hand.
I'm kind of eager, Gabe, to see how does North County respond. Now, that might be very stupid. Like, wait, they won a game, dude. What are you talking about? But how will they play now with the lead? Are they going to, keep attacking? Are they going to kind of sit back, let the opposition come their way, which kind of, again, happened versus Temecula? So I'd be kind of eager to see, though, how this team will play up by multiple goals. Again, up by 2, up by 3, early first, maybe midway first period. Does the game plan change? Do they kind of, in a way, revert to a more defensive-minded approach, or do they still keep going forward, attacking, trying to add to the scoreboard? Because as Temecula showed, though, you can't really sit back and let someone take the game to you.
Well, another one of my favorite emerging stories of this inaugural Elite Draft League at the time is the fire and ice dynamic of the Kinsey brothers. So you do have Reed, who would be that ice component in the control, but then you've got the fire of Ray. We'll see if we got the Roller Daddy Ray on Saturday or the Reckless Ray. Time will tell. But there's definitely players, Ray included, who like to push the tempo. They likes to move the puck up the rink, play in transition, and get scoring going off the rush. And I see that amongst other players on this team too. I know Tanner likes to push the rhythm. Jay likes to get things up the rink. So Artie. So there's definitely, I don't think that there will be any reserve to move the tempo. My only question is how well can they avoid, turning it into a back and forth, run and gun style game? Can they keep that tempo up while also maintaining control? Can they be selective in their moments so as to take advantage of that speed and, opportunistic play, while also, maintaining their structure and full court play? So that'll be exciting to see, and it'll be on full display tomorrow. And we'll be able to do a breakdown of how it all played out on Sunday.
Switching gears from the Surfers to the Mission Bay Ospreys, coming off their 7-3 loss to Del Mar last week. George Godinez leads the way with 2 points with 2 assists. Then Jason Efforts, Joe Cubani, Nate Robert, and Noe Santos all have 1 point each in that after their first game of the season last week. And Matt Malo, their goalie, 15 saves, 22 shots faced in their 7-3 loss versus the Bandits of Del Mar last week. Now we'll see, though, here, Gabe, how does Mission Bay respond, though, after their first game? Again, it kind of looked like, though, like I said, though, maybe that number 1 team right now in Del Mar, all the firepower of Pribble and Chuck Baldwin with his, with him filling in on Saturday and Colton Grover. Now, how will Mission Bay respond going forward? I think this is still a very fun team to watch. And this might, though, Gabe, and this might be a little also maybe preposterous, this might be speed versus speed here in this game coming up on Saturday night at 8 o'clock.
Absolutely. And yeah, going back to what I was saying, if it does become a run and gun battle, then it's a 50-50
Kind of feels like
toss.
it tilts a bit towards Mission Bay if it becomes run and gun like that. If we're going to be doing Showtime Lakers here on both sides of the floor.
Only time will tell. I'd say it's a flip of the coin. There are players on the Surfers who very much can put the puck in the net off the rush. Just to mention Ray and Tanner's names, but on the other side, yeah, players like Mike Rounds, who will be there, who wasn't there last week. Noe Santos, who again had a killer game, was just flying up and down the rink, and had a nice assist to Jason Efforts, who ended up getting one of their goals. Nathan Roberts, who had a great lateral move to put the puck far side. So this is again, all the teams have their threats, and that's one of the things that makes this league so fun and dynamic. But if this becomes a run and gun up the rink, down the rink battle between the Surfers and Osprey, I would say it's a coin toss, because they both have wheels, and they both have players who can snipe and shoot hard, and at very least shoot hard to create rebound opportunities for their teammates. I don't see right off the bat that this team is going to have the same immediate chemistry as the Surfers. So I do give the slight advantage to the Surfers at this time, because I do think that they have a little bit more baked in chemistry. So if I were the Osprey, game plan would be to disrupt that chemistry by just keeping at them hard and fast and not giving them time to really set up in their defensive zone. So a hard forecheck and making things real tough on them in their defensive zone. And I think that could play wonders for the Osprey team.
Yeah, and I think, though, that as we have said, though, again, the chemistry of North County, the speed of Mission Bay makes this like a very intriguing game, where I do believe as well, though, Gabe, if this does become like a run and gun, all-out shootout up and down the floor, we're looking at a game it's probably going to be like 11-10, 12-10, like double-digit scoring might be on the menu if, in fact, it goes that way, where both teams are just, in sync. They're flying, they're moving, they're grooving, and pucks are going in the net left and right. We could be having ourselves, a 14-13, 13-12, very high, but, high scoring, but very entertaining contest late Saturday night.
It could be entertaining for sure, but, Bryce and Maddie might have something to say about that, so.
And they both played great in their first games.
Yeah, they both played great. And so, kudos to everyone playing goalie, especially in the summertime. We know that it's it's not easy to put on all that gear and be studs in the net. So we applaud. I don't know if we can make a clapping emoji or clapping sound for all the goalies out there. We appreciate you coming out and doing it in the heat. We couldn't play this game without goalies. So yeah, I mean, if Maddie and Bryce both have killer games, I would say it's less than 10. But I could definitely see it being a high scoring affair, which is always entertaining. Not a goalie's, not something goalies want to hear all the time, but it could be slated for a very entertaining back and forth game. And I think it would be entertaining even if one of the teams did take possessive control of the puck, because either way, there are players who will, advance the tempo. So I'm not worried about this being a slog of a game in the slightest. This is going to be an up tempo game, whether or not it's run and gun or possession based.
Yeah, and I think, Gabe, even if the scoreboard says it looks like it was a slog, I don't think that any roller game is a slog, just because you have so much action going on. I think, the scoreboard can say one thing, but maybe what the scoreboard doesn't read on the floor, could obviously, say otherwise. But with that in mind, though, folks, two more great games coming up on Saturday from Escondido, California. Temecula versus Del Mar will kick off our night at 7 p.m., followed up right after by North County taking on Mission Bay in the second game of our twin bill on Saturday night at 7 and 8 p.m. in the evening. We will, folks, step aside for our last break. We'll come back and put a bow on this somewhat abbreviated edition of Puck and Roll for Season 3, but it's been a long day for yours truly here after a couple of high school baseball games over the summer and the blazing hot sun today. So we will somewhat, in a way, compact the show a little bit today. We'll come back, we'll wrap things up and talk about Saturday's games a little bit more, and then put a bow on this one and talk about our next program coming up later in the week. With that in mind, folks, we're going to step aside for a break, and we'll be right back in just a moment. The Elite Draft League would like to thank the following sponsors for their support of the inaugural 2024 EDL season. Hot Hockey, Biscuit Balm, the North American Roller Hockey Championships, the Roller Hockey Alliance, and Dangle Dojo. All right, one final segment here to get ourselves off the ground and running for the home stretch of the third episode here of the Puck and Roll podcast, live on Coast to Coast Entertainment alongside Gabe, John, Callan, McClurg back with you here from the home studios in San Diego. Again, we just kind of got ourselves off the ground with our our next week game previews, I should say, with Temecula and Del Mar and North County and Mission Bay coming away on Saturday. With that, Gabe, I know that you have been very busy over the course of the past couple of days with plenty of social content. We've been getting a lot of great views on a lot of the content that we have shared via yourself and also via the Elite Draft League's IG account, and also as well via all of our great loyal sponsors, again, who have just really done numbers and done a great job helping us get our league off the ground and running. But Gabe, what right now could people find via the EDL IG feed or the YouTube feed or even the Facebook feed, I should say, about some content that's been pumped out over the past couple of days as we get ready for week 2?
Hey, great question. I think the content coming out is something that keeps the players excited and pumped, between gameplay on Saturday. So majority of the content can be found at that Instagram handle. You can see it on the screen below at Elite Draft League SD. Give a follow, give a like. I think a couple of the pillars for our approach to this league is to keep it competitive, but also keep it community oriented. And so a lot of the content that we have is not only about capturing the gameplay footage, but also about giving a little bit of behind the scenes into the people that make the league possible, the players and the sponsors, and ultimately the staff behind the scenes. So it's just giving a nice face and community feel. And for any of those who did watch one of those player shorts on what people's and players' reaction to being asked what their favorite thing about playing roller hockey is, a popular answer was the community, the camaraderie. And that is something that we're definitely trying to tap into because, we do have a special community here. The roller hockey community at large is a special community. So I want to make sure that we're tapping into that in the content, in addition to highlighting the, competitive level of play with the gameplay, footage and highlights. So you can see all of that and more at the Instagram handle, Elite Draft League SD. And so, we encourage you to follow along for all new content, as well as just, follow the journey as we progress through this season. There will be, player of the week shout outs, post-game interviews, gameplay footage, sponsorship spotlights, and of course, a little bit of player shorts to give that personality and community feel to it. In addition to Instagram, you're welcome to, of course, check out the website. We, release articles there as well to give a little bit of flavor behind the, behind the scenes, the history of the league. You can see some bios shortly about, who are making the people making the league possible, from the team managers to, us, here, Callan, Commissioner Fontaine, myself, the, awesome refs, the scorekeeper, and everyone in between that's making the league possible and flow seamlessly. Between the this podcast, of course, and the Instagram and the website, which would be elitedraftleaguesd.com. Those are the places where you can really check out our content and stay up to date on everything that we have for you as we continue through this league.
Yeah, and again, folks, there'll be plenty of great content. Wanted to also as well, Gabe, shout out our good man, Vince Keller, who, again, came out to our content day back the day before opening night practically, or 2 days before opening night. Came out and got some very killer footage, though, of the jerseys that were repped by the team captains or by big-name players or players in general, I should say, for all 4 teams. Who came out in that blistering heat and put on the unis for like about a half-hour, content shoot, with video, and also that Vince, along with our partners at Hot Hockey, dropped a very sweet little jersey teaser like a couple days ago, and that really, has, I think, shot up the viewership of the IG account, and again has really helped out the sponsors, I should say, as well, who again are across our bottom line each and every podcast between our coast-to-coast sponsors here and also our Elite Draft League sponsors as well. But again, folks, to recap real quick once more, we will have 2 more games coming your way on Saturday from the Escondido Sports Center here in San Diego. Temecula will take on Del Mar at 7 p.m., with North County taking on Mission Bay to round out week 2 of the season. Again, folks, as we said, games are free, free to the public. Come on out. Punch in the address and come hang out and watch some very highly competitive men's roller hockey action. Again, say hi to Gabe and myself or Commissioner Fontaine if you see us running around the course of the rink as we're either getting footage or we're taking care of some stuff for the games. And if you can't make it, you can also watch the games live via the Elite Draft League SDIG account as well. Again, Josh literally went to new links, pun intended, climbing ladders all throughout the course of last Saturday to get the perfect angle for the rink, and also from beyond on top of basketball hoops. Like, he literally was all over the place, folks, just trying to give everyone a great proverbial bird's eye view of the action if you could not make it on Saturday last week, which I believe, Gabe, we may have topped at like about 70, 75 people who tuned in to watch the 2 de facto web streams of those games last week.
Yeah, not a bad showing for first week. And there were a couple of technical difficulties, which I think that, as the weeks progress, we'll continue to iron out. So it becomes a better and better experience for everyone involved. So if you are, here and staying around, it's only going to get better. So keep on this journey with us, and, we'll make it special for everyone.
We will definitely make it special. I mean, like I said, we're improving from week to week to week as we get this whole thing started. Again, folks, I will again reiterate, we do plan on eventually getting some live guest interviews on here. But again, we are trying not to really take time out of people's schedules right now. We're still very early in this whole project with the Elite Draft League. We'll eventually get Josh on during the course of a bye week coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll have more content to drop in here as well as we do prolong here. We have a lot of great things that we do already have in the, ready to go, just waiting for the okay to drop those in. And as Gabe likes to do, like, sprinkle a little bit of seasoning, on things as we, again, will move on from episode to episode. With that in mind, Gabe, we will get out of here somewhat early for this Friday night to get some time back in our day, as we would probably hear on a regular 9 to 5 Zoom meeting. Give some time back into your day. Gabe, any last thoughts here? I think, again, great show. Got through a bit of a recap of week 1 and got to really, I think, dive pretty deep into week 2 and really get to know these teams a little bit better after the first week of the season.
Yeah. I'm just super stoked that, tomorrow is Saturday and we get to continue the league. Gameplay should be fun, exciting, fast-paced. Super stoked for all those who have, provided their feedback already between last week and this week, and have expressed how excited they are to come out and skate and, continue with this journey with us. So, and also we matched our record. Speaking of records, we matched our record of in-show comments, live comments right here. If we can get that second comment, a nice, for anyone watching, a nice 10 out of 10, boom, that'd be awesome so we can go into tomorrow. We've got probably a couple of seconds remaining to get a last final comment in so we can get a new record of comments on the live stream. see if we get any.
Let's hope. Maybe not. But again, we have plenty more times to get this thing up to where, it will be eventually, and I think as we said, we are again doing a whole new thing here with this with both the league and also with the podcast. As more time goes on, we're going to be totally fine, I think, going forward. And I know that, and I think though, Gabe, as well, that even if we don't have a lot of commentary, we obviously can fill the time. We have content, we have interviews. You and I can go back and forth, about having played the game for a long time. But also, I think though, even if no one watches live, man, we're going to have a lot of great comments, maybe a little bit of some friendly banter about, why'd you say this about us on, about the team, on last night's show, where again, even if no one watches live, these guys are watching and they love having this platform. Again, Colton Grover said that we now have a platform now to play the game that we love now here in San Diego, be competitive and have fun, as you were saying. And now here they have a new outlet, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more glowing reviews, whether it's 5 stars or no stars tomorrow from some of the guys who probably cannot watch the first week, but now they've watched here in week 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've already received feedback that, watching the pod on, on the replay has become a fan favorite for, during biking exercise to get pumped up for the Saturday game itself. So I'm sure people are enjoying the replay. Us here as well, it's always cool to also get a PR every once in a while. So we'll see if we can, keep the viewership alive and growing as we continue.
Yeah, and I do know for a fact that the first episode, I believe, was up to about 70, maybe 75 views, all from archive, pretty much. And I think the first recap we had from last Sunday was similar spot, 65, 70, 75 views. Probably a lot of it on replay, though, because, again, it's hard to maybe tune in 7 o'clock on a Friday, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, whatever time on a Sunday. It can be a little bit hard, though. Maybe it's, I'm taking some time off or taking the day off, whatever. But again, with more time, we're going to be just totally fine. With that in mind, though, folks, once more to reiterate again on Saturday, if you are in the area here in San Diego need a hockey fix, other than watching rounds 2 through 7 of the NHL draft tomorrow, come on out and support the San Diego Elite Draft League up in Escondido. We have 2 more games tomorrow. Temecula Vineyards Vipers will take on the Mar Bandits at 7 p.m. And then North County will take on Mission Bay at 8 o'clock. And by the way, you get 2 games for free, and we're done by at least, I'd say, 9 o'clock in the evening.
Things did go pretty smooth last week, so everything ran on time. It was 7 to 9. Come on out.
So come on out for a couple of hours. You get 2 games. I mean, doesn't get much better than that at this rate. With that in mind, though, folks, again, we will see you back here on Sunday for episode 4 to recap week 2 of the Elite Draft League season in San Diego. For my good man, Gabe, John, and the entire cast and crew behind the scenes for the San Diego Elite Draft League, yours truly, Callan McClurg, saying good night from San Diego. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you all on Sunday. Till then, have a good one. Bye-bye. The Elite Draft League would once again like to thank the following sponsors for their unwavering support of the inaugural 2024 EDL season. Craft Coast Brewery and Taco Stand. Play It Again Sports, Scripps Mira Mesa. The Answer's Yes. Roller Dad News. The Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Hockey Night Insider. R&R Productions. Wild Dog Marketing. H3 Hockey. Biscuit Balm. The North American Roller Hockey Championships. The Roller Hockey Alliance. And Dangle Dojo. The Coast to Coast Entertainment Network would like to thank their proud sponsors for their support of C2C programming. Beside Me Bracelets. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. Reaper Apparel Company. and Good Day Embroidery.